that and get into this discussion. So today's discussion is about the question, is black hair professional? And the first question, of course, has to be, okay, there we go, it does one move. What comes to mind when you think of professional hair? That silence was interesting.
It's such a wide topic, isn't it? Like, and I think that it's almost kind of like overwhelming, and there are so many factors that come into thinking about what is, professional hair, and also it depends on the sector. You know, a corporate world is different to a much more creative world. So what's accepted there would be different, and how they see that as professional is, completely different as well. And it even comes down to like a uniform, how you present yourself, all of that. But I think the majority of what we think is very much a European or like standard of professionalism, and that's why maybe that tends to come into mind. So yeah.
For sure, I definitely agree with Grace. So this is at Saka Luxe_beauty, just in case anyone gets confused. But yes, definitely agree with Grace. Same here. I guess maybe hairstyle in a bun or slicked back, I'm using my own hair anyways, or it's going to be a straight style. Like if I'm wearing a wig, I can actually get away with just wearing it straight and not even putting it in a bun, and no one is going to necessarily comment on my hair in terms of professionalism. But yeah, definitely agree with everything that Grace has said in terms of the Eurocentric standards of beauty when it comes to professional hairstyles.
Any other comments or like opposing views, maybe? You guys all agree? I think for me, I do agree with everything, but also I'm the sort of person that, for me, my best hairstyle, or to me, my hair is the best when it's like full and twisted out or like free. So I think the standard that I'd usually be used to is like people saying, oh, you should tie it back or put it up, but for me, if I'm going anywhere, if I've got an event, I always seem to twist out, or I always seem to braid out. Like, my hair to me is most professional, I guess, in my mind anyway. It's most professional when it's the fullest and the curliest, which is not the norm, but that's just how I personally would see my hair and my professional hair. I actually did a Google search on this. So if this presentation wants to move, it does. Professional hairstyles, no surprises on what actually came up. So 90% of the images here are of white Caucasian individuals. So there's one. I was actually amazed that there was one black girl. And again, yeah, it's like what we said, like the sleek bun tied back, which, yeah, it looks professional. But then I'm also like looking at these hairstyles. I don't feel like I even see people in the workplace with these anyway, I'll be honest. So
they look like wedding hairstyles.
Right?
Right.
People don't make this much effort for work, I don't think, like,
No,
because it takes a lot to get like these waves of those curls. So I don't know how accurate that is. I also did a search for unprofessional hairstyles, and so in 2016 somebody actually did a Google search of this, and it was all black women. Every single image was of black women, which now I'm so happy it's changed. Although you can see black women here, the reason for that is because they're all thumbnails to articles that people have written against Google to say our hair is not unprofessional. And so, like, you can see some of the titles say, do Google's unprofessional hair, Google under fire over racist imagery. And I don't know what it was about the algorithm, but for some reason, when you searched unprofessional hairstyles, it was all images of black people.
Yeah.
So shocking, but thankfully we've moved from there in the past 4 years, I'm glad to say. Also, I did search Afro professional hairstyles, and there was actually quite a lot of, like, what do you guys think of these?
It's very diverse.
Yeah, I like that.
I actually was quite proud of what I saw. Like, I would be happy to wear any of these styles in a professional setting. And I'm glad that we're getting somewhere, especially with Google, such a big platform. I'm glad that somebody could search that if they wanted something for work and they could actually find something professional there of any style. But I did also search Afro unprofessional hairstyles, and I found an article on BBC News, which was done May 15, 2016, about a woman who actually was discriminated against in the workplace because she decided to wear her natural hair to work. She was forced to wear weaves or wigs and told that she was not professional with her natural hair. And I think it stemmed into like what she wore as well. They had a dress code, which I'm okay with. Like, it's okay to have a dress code, but how can you say like the way you naturally look is not professional? That to me really struck a chord. So my next question is, why do you think so many people view black hair as unprofessional?
I think it's linked to the standard of beauty, what we think is attractive, what we think is presentable. We all know that Eurocentric features are in general more accepted. So Eurocentric hair is more accepted. So straight hair, even if it's curly, maybe a bit of wave, but not too Afro. I mean, I know back in the days, they used to, with curly hair products that were actually made by Caucasian organization, they would sometimes use the word wild to describe Afro hair. So already it had that kind of negative connotation linked to it. So if they see us, well, when someone that's not black sees one of us or person with like curly Afro hair, they wouldn't link that to unprofessional. And it's almost like, oh, why? What's happening? I mean, I remember once I went to work because I work in the city, and someone was like, oh, what's happening with this? And they actually had seen my hair before, but it was always in a bun, in a sleek ponytail, seriously. And I actually said, why are you saying this? And he was like, yeah, because why is your hair like this? I was like, that's how my hair grows out my scalp, literally. And change jobs, same thing, come online. One time I wore my hair out, because sometimes it will be in a bun, because I get less questions, me being in a meeting, if my hair's in a bun most of the time. But same thing again, they're like, oh, what happened to your hair? And it's like, well, that's how my hair grows, you know? So I guess it's always the same thing. And yeah, I think in general, people they're just not used to this hair, and they don't really associate it with something good per se, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think the way that our hair grows out, and the patterns, the curls and everything, they might think, like you said, it's wild, it's unkempt, it doesn't look right because it doesn't grow down, it grows outwards and it's big, right?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's a case of changing how they view that, and allowing them to understand that like our hair actually like is so magical that it defies gravity. Like, let's be real, it does this magical thing of just being there. And to them, I think being able to wrap their heads around that is when you're not exposed to something, you don't understand, right? So we have to get them to understand. And although they can do their own research, but I think it's being in a situation where if you're asked that question, or if they come to you, like what Abigail said, like if they ask those questions and being like, yeah, this is how it naturally is, if you'd like to know more, we can have a conversation about it. And then that way it creates that education then, rather than leaving them to have their own way of thinking and being like, oh yeah, I guess that's just how they all are. And then you what have you done then? You haven't educated the person. So it's about that as well, creating that dialogue and making sure they know, you know. So yeah.
I think it's also I think some people don't want us Black people to rise again, have it, or expect us to have high positions. And so therefore, if it happens, I mean, it very rarely does because of the way things are. It's almost like, wait, it's different. And for them, unprofessional is it's anything different to theirs. And the standard is the European standard, based on that's just how it is. People know that's just how it is. So for them, if your hair is different, they can't understand that, and it's lack of understanding. They deem they anything different to their hair, to their standard, is deemed unprofessional.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just gonna say, you just made me think then about for example, like the Obamas, like when they came into power, right? Michelle did not have an afro, right?
Yeah.
And that was on purpose. Okay. So like even just thinking about that, getting into those higher positions, whether it's at work, whether it's politics, whether it's religion, even when we're in those positions, are we also representing our truest selves, or are we, conforming? Because then they're going to also look at that and be like, okay, well, I guess if they're at the top and they're wearing this hair, then that's also their professional standard of hair. Do you know what I mean? But if Michelle had gone there when, the inauguration was happening and she was rocking her afro.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like, would we be having the same conversation?
That's true. And also, may I add that wearing your hair in its natural state, well, for Black people, has been often linked to like revolution and fighting and, the civil rights movement, etc. So there's also a link to that, even like amongst the Black community. So for example, if I'm out somewhere, like people might be like, oh, you're quite, they'll literally, I don't know if that makes sense, that they will associate you they'll kind of group you as a certain type of Black person when you're just wearing your hair. Literally, there's nothing that deep. You're just wearing your hair, going on about your day. And for white people, I believe also some of them do think like that. So when they see you wearing your hair, some of them, I think it makes them feel a bit uncomfortable. But I do agree with what Kia said. I have in the past gone into interviews where I thought, what wig should I wear? Because it's going to be easier, if that makes sense. Like, what wig should I wear? Or if I'm wearing my hair out, I had to probably stick it down in a bun because it's going to be easier again. If I went to an interview with maybe not the earrings because they're quite big, but with this hairstyle, even though I dress professionally, I'm not sure they would give me the job. Sounds quite bad, but it's really that, to be quite honest, it's really like that. And then literally, once I get the job, I usually show my true self.
Afterwards, because then they can't stop you, right? That's really interesting. Sorry, Thoko, I don't know if you had something you wanted to say.
Yeah, no, I was literally just gonna say what Abby just said. Like, it's true, you have all these questions, and it's really sad that we have to double think and we have to like double take on being our natural selves when everyone else can naturally be their natural self. Why do we have to constantly like be thinking about it? It's a process, and actually, she is right. Like, when we are in our natural hair, it may make other people feel uncomfortable just because of the historical connotations of that, like politicalness of like having your natural hair out was, like it was a civil movement, it was a civil stand back in the day. So it was never seen, our hair has never been seen as professional, it's never been seen as beautiful, it's never been seen as natural. Even the word nappy, for example, has like literally comes from the word nap because of cotton. So we've grown up with that stigma, we've grown up with that, like connotations of our hair not seen as beautiful. So now I think it is really important for us to be able to, I guess, like fight against that.
Completely. I completely agree. And also I can see in the comments like people are agreeing about what you said about Michelle Obama, Grace, and Jenny as well said like Meghan Markle. Yeah. Like yeah, she had to have this whole straight, and she felt so pressured. She was like, you know what, I don't want to be in this family. Like that's how deep it was for her. Like she was like, you know what, forget it, I'm not staying. Like and also Angela agrees with the whole thing of like it's about what we openly expose to people.
Right.
So if we show them the wigs or the weaves, or if this is what we only ever show them, they'll never understand what we actually look like.
Yeah.
And that kind of links me to our next question. By wearing these straight weaves, wigs, and using relaxers, are we contributing to the ideology that our natural hair isn't professional?
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
question.
that's a good
I'd like to think we're not, because we have the right to do whatever we want to do with our hair, right? And at the end of the day, it's about what's on my head. As long as I'm doing, you know, the right things and it's not, you know, falling out in clumps, then really and truly nobody has the right to say this is what you should do. You should have it straight, you should have it curly, blah, blah, blah. You can do what you want. However, I think we also cannot be naive to the way that society is thinking. So I cannot then go into a space and say, well, I'm going to do this and, you know, or I'm going to wear my hair natural, and somebody's not going to think, oh yeah, like Black Power warrior. Do you know what I mean? Because it's those kind of ideologies and connotations that are automatically already in their head. That's why when you do it, I think it's important to have that conversation, have that dialogue, so that you break down what that person is thinking, because it might not be coming from a malicious place. It's coming from an ignorant place, and that's different. So yeah.
I mean, same. I completely agree. I think it's that. I think also with what people view as attractive. So I've noticed, and I was saying this to my friend, I've noticed like if I'm out as a single person, literally, and I have a wig, straight hair, and then I have my natural hair, I will get different approaches. Like honestly, like I might get more attention from wearing my straight wig. So even amongst ourselves, I also believe, unfortunately, not everyone is even still comfortable with that Afro like hair beauty, that our hair is beautiful. You might get a few compliments, but that's nothing. But now if I wear the wig, it's a completely different reaction. So that's one thing that, because last year I did a lot of, like, I literally tried loads of different wig. It was fun. But I did notice a difference in terms of how people were treating me. And I went to my friend's house one day. There was her younger cousin, and she's got like a head full of hair. And normally I would wear my hair out, but I don't know, this day I was wearing a wig. And she actually said to me, she was like, oh, no one has hair like mine. All of you guys are wearing like straight hair. And that honestly not broke my heart, but I was so upset, because she's looking up to all the Black women that are around her, and all these Black women have straight hair. And when she goes to school, because the school that she goes to is predominantly white, so already the standard of beauty in her school is Eurocentric, and then when she goes home, the standard of beauty is also Eurocentric when it comes to hair, which makes her hate her own hair. So I think, I think we can express ourselves, but if everyone is wearing straight wigs or is only wearing wigs, then clearly there's a work we need to do on ourselves.
Definitely. I think
sorry.
I was just going to read out some of the comments, because there's a lot going on, and I think people are really engaging with this topic. So Florence was saying, within schools, it happens whether Black girls or guys are wearing their natural hair or colourful hair. So it's been seen as bad, and kind of like what you were saying about your situation with, I think you said your cousin.
It was my friend's cousin, yeah.
Yeah, your friend's cousin. But she was saying when when a white school girl tries a black hairstyle, it's fine.
Yeah, it's cool.
And someone else was saying, yeah, like it's interesting that a white girl wearing a black girl's hairstyle is more cool than a black girl wearing a white girl's hairstyle or their own hairstyle. There was also the idea of sometimes we just choose weaves, relaxers, braids, and stuff like that because it's just easier to manage. Sometimes I guess people are just grown up with that. That's what they're used to. So that's how they wear their hair. That's how they've always worn their hair. Veronica said, yes, she thinks that the short answer to the question is yes. However, it will take many generations to overcome the generational trauma that shapes our social and individual views of what is beautiful, professional, and desirable. And I think that's like so true.
Yeah,
that's so true.
Yeah, sorry, Kia, you can carry on.
I was gonna say, just bouncing off what Abby said, it's so sad that it was sad that your friend's cousin was that way, and I think us as our generation, especially because the natural hair movement is now, yes, we're all like, yeah. It's so important that we educate our youngest, our siblings, our own children, so that if they have kept like healthy natural hair from the beginning, like they always have it, like it will never be, well, not never, hopefully it will be less of a thing of professional hair. They don't have to change. And also still, even with the straight wigs and the braids and stuff, we still have that inbuilt. We still, well, I lived in a country where I was the only black person, and it's still kind of that inbuilt, just, well, straight hair, that's just the done thing. And it's horrible. So being here, being in England, and there's so many black people around me here, and I'm like, listen, Grace said it before, our hair is magical. Our hair is magical. We're doing something, then 2 weeks later our hair's different. For Caucasian colleagues, work friends, will be like, what happened to your hair? I'm confused. And someone said this to me, my friend, she said, you know, when Caucasian people go to the hair salon and they do something like, oh, I'm doing something really drastic, and then and it's like, okay, yeah, you look the same. You just let's
it's just
do
the trim.
the same. For us, we like, mate, you our hair is different, and yeah.
Could I make a comment, please?
Sure.
So someone in the comments earlier said that sometimes it's because our hair is hard to manage. And as a hairdresser, and to be honest, also as a mom, and as an individual black girl myself, I have such a difficult time with that response, or with that kind of mindset. And I've had to make sure that I'm constantly reprogramming that my hair is hard to manage. My hair is hard to manage because as growing up, that's what I was taught, you know. So it was easy for my mom to relax my hair because it's just easy. It's just easier to take care of it if you relax it, or you're in braids and whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I think we have to be really careful to say that, you know, our hair is hard to manage. I don't think that it's hard to manage. I think we just don't necessarily know what to do with it. And that can be a numerous amount of different things. And I always say, if you don't know, ask. Like, don't be shy of reaching out to somebody that you trust, a hairdresser that you trust, Or like, you know, if you see anybody, for example, if I saw Laura walking down the road and she has this gorgeous like twist out, I don't mind stopping her and being like, girl, how did you, what products do you use, or how did you do that, you know, and have these conversations, because I think it is really dangerous for us to keep on saying that our hair is hard to manage, when actually it's not about how hard it is to manage. It's about knowing exactly what to do with it, and how and what care your hair needs. And obviously, even though we're all black, all our hair is very different, you know. Some people's hair textures, you've got 3 different types of textures in your hair, so one hair product isn't exactly going to be essential, like isn't going to be great for all your different hair textures, if that makes sense. But this is why it's important to reach out to people that you do trust, or hairdressers that you do trust, and hairdressers that know what they're doing, because we had a discussion earlier and some people don't know what they're doing, and not to bash people, but yeah, like, you need to just make sure that you are asking those questions, because there are people out here who are willing to help, like, you know. That's what I guess that's what me and Abby does, because Abby does Afro hair tips, and obviously I'm a hairdresser, so yeah, I think just change the narrative, I guess. Like, that's what
Oh yeah, I just saw the comments on the chat, because she said maybe we misunderstood her comments, because it might take us longer to style our hair, if I understand it properly. But even I mean, I don't know, I can only speak for myself, to be honest. I've all my life, women that have tried to do my hair haven't really succeeded properly in terms of doing my hair. Even right now, my own sister, if I ask her to do my hair, she might think twice about it. But I think I'm like type 4 hair, but even that, I still have some looser curl texture. And one thing that I do see on YouTube, I often see people sometimes commenting, well, with texturism, if I may say, commenting on people with looser hair texture. I wish I had your hair texture. I wish it was that easy for me. And I feel like, because we're trying to adapt to something, or I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost like you have to almost relearn everything for yourself, literally. Because before, it used to take me really long to style my hair, but I don't know, I've just figured out different styles that may not take me as long. Because yes, if I'm going to do a twist out or a bantu knot, it's going to take me very long. Whereas maybe my sister, because her hair texture is a bit like, it's easier to detangle. I don't know, it's just, it feels different anyways. If she does that hairstyle, it's going to be easier for her. If I do maybe bantu knots, my hair might look fuller. My sister, her hair might not look as full. I don't know, everyone has different characteristic. And I guess because, like, I think she mentioned that on the comment, and I do believe she's right, mentally it is hard to adjust. And I would say that it's almost like a fight. Like, I remember when I transitioned from straight to natural, and at uni as well, I was the queen of weaves. Like, you know, the leave outs, that was me at uni, basically. And so it was really, really hard mentally. I remember one of my friends was like, are you really going to do this? Are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm really going to do it. So already, even my own friends, in terms of their standard of beauty, they didn't think it was nice. In general, people think, this is cute. You know, they're not thinking, wow, you look nice. You're not going to get the same reaction. So it's almost like mentally you do have to fight. And if you don't genuinely love your hair, like if you don't look at yourself and think, oh, I look nice, like this is really me, I genuinely do think it's going to be harder for you to learn how to manage to love your hair, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you're going to find like your relationship with your hair is going to be hard, because you're going to try to make your hair do things that it's not really supposed to do, or it's not naturally, like, you know, even with like the baby hairs. I mean, yes, you can do baby hair, but some people don't have baby hair. Some people, if you use the gel, it's not really gonna, unless you use that wax thing that's really difficult, and even I'm not sure how they do it properly, but you're gonna fight against those baby hairs. So I think
that's what I was saying. Like, it's really important to make,
in terms of mentally, you know, fighting against those. Yeah.
Oh, the connection.
A bit of lag there.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, you're back, I think.
What happened?
Oh, I can't
I think there was just a bit of a lag, so
Oh.
yeah, but it's back now. I was just gonna say, yeah, some of the comments, I think we were misunderstanding a little bit like what they meant.
Yeah.
So we're sorry if we've taken it on a tangent that you didn't mean in the comments.
Yeah.
These are just our thoughts. And I think we can come back to this at the end though, because we've got a couple more questions to get through. But Thoko, do you want to finish what you wanted to say and then we'll move on?
I forgot now. I think I was just gonna illustrate what Abby said about about her saying that it is a mind thing. It's definitely something that you have to fight with, and definitely for me, I said it at the beginning, I had to make sure that I'm doing that because now I'm a mom and I don't want my little girl to go through that. I want her to be confident in her natural hair, and even at 5 years old when she comes home from school, she's always asking me about, Mom, can I have my hair straight? Mom, can I? Because she's surrounded by Caucasians, and it was definitely a difficult conversation to have with a toddler. But it's important because at the end of the day, I need her to, to grow up with that kind of mind, whatever. But yeah, it's definitely a battle, and you have to be intentional with it.
Yeah, for sure. And I thank you for what you guys have said. Also, recognizing that we're all in a similar generation and there are generations like above us who haven't had the kind of upbringings we have. I know personally, my mum never let me relax my hair. She was like, I want your hair to be your hair like this. She didn't really let me have braids until I was about high school age. And she really did. I think she used to style my hair and I used to look like a kid, and I got to high school, I was like, no, I want to look grown. So I was like, I'm going to do it myself. And I remember I used to go to church, do my hair for church, get laughed at. Like the aunties would laugh at me, like, who did your hair today? And I was like, I did it. They're like, oh, it's so bad. But then come like 3-4 years later, they're like, wow, who did your hair? I'm like, I did, And I think it's about relearning or unlearning what we've learned. And also, I think someone was saying in the comments that they've grown up from learning from what their parents taught them, and it was to do with how they had to manage their hair. It should be straight or easier to manage in certain ways. I think now we're trying to break from what our parents taught us, because we're like, wait, I don't think that was actually right. Like, but that's not your fault because you didn't know any better. So,
then you know, 100%.
So yeah, next question. I think, I had a bit of history here. So the origins of relaxers. I found this really interesting. So the relaxer was actually invented by a Black man, which shocked me because I thought it was more to do with like white people trying to make us different. But actually it was that mindset of Black people wanting to fit in and wanting to be like having the straight Europeanized hair. So we invented it for ourselves, which is actually really sad when I think about it, that we were pushed into such a corner that it's like, you should be like us, or like to the point where we desired to be like them. And I think like every hair type is amazing. And it's sad that we thought that ours wasn't good enough. But that's just how, that's how it was back then. And it made me laugh that the straightening cream was found accidentally when trying to ease friction of a sewing machine in a tailor shop. I think that's hilarious. I don't know how it got onto someone's hair, but I did read up that the guy tried it on his dog as well, and it straightened the dog's hair. So it's like, okay, let's try it on people. It's like, I don't know if I would have gone with that, but it became a big thing. And, obviously, relaxer is something that we all know about now. But that was just a bit of history to throw that in there. Okay, so what role does the media play in supporting or opposing the idea of Black hair being unprofessional?
The ads. It's all in the ads.
Honestly,
like you ever see those ads where you're like, no, but what is this? This is not it. You think this doesn't look like me, or this doesn't represent like me and my friends, or the people I see at church or at work or whatever it is. And think sometimes in my head I'm thinking, nah, but why did the black girl agree to that though? Like what is like you make, like what is that? And sometimes if it's everywhere, and again, if that's what all of society is seeing, then yeah, automatically they're gonna think, yeah, like that is what it is. And then sometimes you have the opposite, where you have an influencer or a blogger who's out there doing stuff, and then maybe a brand might support what they're doing, and then that gets light as well. So that also, you know, it creates that sense of, like, I guess, a little bit of support, because then people who might not be exposed to someone like that are then exposed to that world, and they gain better understanding of it. And then that also helps to spread the, you know, the message of it, whether it is professional or not, basically. So yeah.
And I also like, haven't you guys noticed that when a black girl gets featured, it's either she's in, like, I don't know, something quite quirky, like a TV series that's quite quirky, especially on the BBC anyway. It's never really in The Apprentice, or like, do you remember there was one time, actually talking about The Apprentice, do you remember there was that one time where there was a black girl on The Apprentice, yeah, and I think she was wearing a wig one time, and like something happened with the wig, and I remember it blown up on Twitter because so many people, like, so it was like an uproar, like so many people were so triggered by it, and it was like, why is this girl representing us so bad, and da 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 da, and it was so bad. But I remember being so like, oh my gosh, like it was kind of embarrassing, but then at the same time it was kind of annoying as well, because you always feel like when someone black is on TV, come on, like, represent us correctly, do you know what I mean? And then when they don't, it's like, damn, man, I wish you could.
Yeah, I mean, I saw someone in the comments saying that it's getting better, and I definitely agree with that, because now with the whole bloggers and Instagram, YouTube, I don't know, for me, honestly, becoming natural, YouTube is the one that taught me, that helped me. I mean, obviously went to hair salon, etc., but because I had been to hair salon and I had so many negative experience, like, YouTube helped me massively. And I think at the time it started more in the US. Here, it was, all we really had was Shea Moisture back in the days, you know, and I mean, I was doing DIY, you know, but it was working, honestly. So YouTube helped a lot in terms of that media aspect. Bloggers, so now a lot of bloggers are getting sponsorship. I mean, I think it's good and bad, to be honest, because of consumerism is not so good, but a lot of bloggers or influencers, should I say, might have natural hair, and they might be featured in terms of showing how they're using it on their hair or how they're detangling, and that's also empowering for young girls. I know one of my cousins, so this is actually my cousin this time, she found something on, I can't remember, it was something on YouTube, and then it helped her in terms of detangling, and she's like, look, I now know how to detangle my own hair properly. So yeah, I think it's definitely changing, although not so much. Like, I know there's an American actress, I forgot what's her name, Tiona Paris. I don't know if you guys know her. Yeah, so when I first saw her on TV, honestly, for me, it was a big deal, because I don't really recall seeing black women wearing their natural hair on TV.
I agree.
Or not in, if they're wearing it straightened anyways.
I just, for me, like, when I think about like the key black women on TV, you had like Gabrielle Union, you had Nia Long, you had like what's it, Tia as well. Remember on Sister Sister, they had their curly hair when they were like younger. Do you remember? When they went off to like uni or college, as they call it, they like straightened their hair, them look a bit grown. And it's kind of that thing that we were talking about sometimes, like, when you have your natural hair out, like, they'll look at you, oh, you look cute, you look adorable, and you almost have to do extra to make yourself look a bit more like, no, actually, I'm not 19, I'm X age. So it's that as well. And also, it's like, how not only just how you perceive yourself, but also like how, I don't know, if you're out dating as well, like if they're not aware of that, they're like, oh, you look, how old are you? Oh, you look this, you look that. It's like, no, but you know, I'm out here trying to look buff, okay?
Yeah, that exactly.
It's true. I'm trying to look my best self. Like this is my absolute best self. So I should be able to do that without having to, you know, wear the wigs or the weave. Not to say there's anything bad about it. You can do that, but you know, wear your most true, authentic self. I think that's where your confidence should come from. And if the media like plays into that, you know, it can go either way, basically.
Definitely.
I have to say though, Grace, don't knock it because black don't crack.
I love that.
I'm sorry, but I said it because it's true. We do look younger, whether we have natural hair or not. Wigs and we still look younger. But I was thinking about this. I was watching this TV show years ago, and there was this black person, a black family, and she had like you know when you wear a wig, but it's an Afro wig, but it's not like, it doesn't look like our hair. It just looks ridiculous. I'm like, okay, so this was a female. I'm like, why are in your Caucasian shows are you trying to portray like, yes, it's a black family, but it's, you're not portraying us correctly, so we have to have something. We have to be quirky clothes, or we have to have just ridiculous afro, but it's not a natural afro. We can't just be ourselves, a character. We always have to play it. We always have to have something, and it was something that Thoko said as well. She said, have you ever noticed that we have to be either wearing, it never really seemed to be enough that we're just
I agree. As someone said that, someone was saying that to me. I had a conversation with one friend, and she said, it seems like us as Black women, it's like we have to be not perfect, but our standard of beauty is so like high. We can't just, you know, be like, no, like, you know, for example, let's say you don't feel like doing massive contouring or anything like that. You're just not even allowed. Or if you just want to wear your hair out just normally, you're not even allowed. It needs to be like maybe slicked down with some swoopies, that very, very like extra. I
was gonna stop you there, Abby, because I was like, wait, whoa, that's almost a different question. We have that. Don't cut it off too soon.
No, because I was gonna bring in with Love Island. I think there was a girl. She was wearing a wig, and the way Black people went hard at her. If there was any other woman that I feel like her hair, she had a bad hair day, or her hair was in a bun, but it wasn't perfect, no one would notice that. But the fact that her wig wasn't slayed and it wasn't perfect, everyone was really, really harsh, and it just shows again that we need to. Our standard of beauty is extremely high.
Yeah,
I'm gonna definitely come back to that near the end. There's a question on it that so remind me of that. Thoko needs to go, but I just wanted to, kind of off topic, but I know before the discussion we had a bit of a conversation. So for those of you who came in a bit later, Thoko is actually studying to be a hairdresser right now. She lives in Preston and she wants to focus on Black hair. So if you could just tell us a little bit about what you said before to the panel about your struggles at college, that would be really helpful, and then you can disappear.
Okay, cool, that's fine. So I'm currently like at college doing my studies to basically get a certificate to say I'm qualified. I've always done hair, but I've always done it on the side. And beginning of in June, I basically said I want to do this full time. This is what I'm passionate about. So I enrolled to college and I'm absolutely loving it. But one of the things that I had to overcome was the standard, I guess, of doing a hairdressing course that basically just surrounds white hair. And being the only Black girl on the course, for the first week, I found it quite difficult, just because obviously I'm really passionate about Black hair and I actually want to be a Black hairdresser. Well, I am one, but I want to be qualified in that role, in that sector. So I had to basically say to myself, okay, do I conform to this, or do I kind of stick to what I love and know? And if I do stick to what I love and know, how acceptable is it going to be? With my classmates, with my teacher, and obviously the assessments have to, the assessments are quite rigid, but I didn't see the reason why the only hair we were talking about was Caucasian hair. So I basically approached my tutor and I said to her that I basically want to do Black hair, and is that okay? Like, do I have to stick to do I basically have to stick to one hair texture? Can I not, bring a range of hair textures? And she kind of looked at me for a little bit and we had a bit of a discussion around it. And basically in the end, she did say, like, why not? And for me, it was a big deal because it just gave me that boost of confidence that actually, like, you know what, I think it does only take that one person to open their mouth and does only take that one person to kind of lead the way. And I ended up having my assessment, and my assessment was on a 4C Black girl, and I passed my assessment, and it was amazing for me. And also when you get your pack, so you get like a hairdressing kit and stuff, and in that pack you obviously have heads to practice on when you're at home. So I had to actually purchase a Black head, because again it wasn't normal to have a Black head in your kit, even though I'm a Black girl doing a hair course, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was definitely something that I said I have to make sure that I do, and it was a bit of a hard conversation for me in my head, because part of me was just like, come on, Thoko, just do this, like get it done, get that certificate and get out. But there was a kind of like hardball side of me, which, Laura and Grace and that knows already, that I am very passionate about who I am and what I want to fulfill. And if that means that I have to be uncomfortable in some situations, I don't mind. But that also then means that the girls after me will also be okay. The girls after me will also be able to go to college, and be able to do Black hair, And there was loads of other little things that I had to approach my teacher on during the course, and it's definitely a journey. I'm not gonna lie, it definitely has not been easy, but I think what's great is the fact that I've just been able to open my mouth and say it. And I remember one of the first things I noticed when we work in a salon at the college, and on the walls, on the posters, were just like Caucasian hair, and they had like a curl chart on there, and I kid you not, the curl chart stopped at 3C, like 3A, like 3A or 3B. And I remember just sitting there and being like, why don't I see my curl pattern? Like, wait a second, like this is so awkward for me. And I basically said to my teacher, I was like, I don't see my curl pattern on there. And she was like, don't worry. And the next day she took it down and put up another new one, and it had like all of up until 4C. And I was like, that's better, now I feel included. And it's unfortunate because I feel like we always have to double think about certain things. We always have to kind of, I don't know, be that Black girl that opens her mouth and like get certain things done. But I think it's just really important. But yeah, I think Laura just wanted me to say that. Just give a bit of encouragement, I guess.
Yeah, and I think as well, you've been getting so much encouragement in the chat as well. Like people just saying, "Wow, like thank you for standing up.
Thank you guys.
It's inspiring. It's beautiful." And Ronald said that he remembers in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s that at the same college, there was issues, and they were just like, "We're not fixing it." So it's crazy that we're still having those issues now, but it's great that you are actually doing something about it, and you've been wished all the best in moving forward with this in the future. So to anyone in Preston nearing anyone in the surrounding areas, Lady T Slays is ready to slay.
Yes.
So please hit her up. Yeah, thanks for joining us. We're going to continue, but
guys.
feel free to slide out.
Yes. Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later, then. Okay, just so everyone knows, currently everyone's on mute except the panel, but at the end we're going to try and open up for questions. So if you've got any like questions or things you want to say, please hold on to them and we're going to come back to them. And also, I guess if we have so many questions, we might just do another like hair chat. Because we're due to finish at 8:30. So that was our cut-off point. So I hope that's okay with everyone, but feel free to come in and go. And we are recording it, so if you missed some, you can catch the rest on YouTube if you need to go. So I did a bit of a search. So I was just thinking of like ASOS, that's kind of somewhere that most people shop. It's got a lot of high street shops. And on the like plus side end or high end fashion, Selfridges. Similar kind of like retail stores online. So I was like, what black models can I find? And actually, I was quite surprised that I could find representation in both places. So on ASOS, I managed to find a girl with dreads. I was like, yes, that's great. A girl with her natural curly hair. There was a curly hair wig and there was a straight hair wig. I thought, okay, that represents quite a lot of us. Like, I was happy to see that. And then Selfridges, me and my sister laughed, but we were so amazed because, so I think they've done it strategically where there's about 6 different models, but you have everyone represented. So you could see like Asian, white, black, mixed race as well. And it was just nice to kind of flick through the images and be like, wow, we can actually see a lot of different representations here. I think it was better for the women than the men, but actually the Selfridges men. So I loved to see a man in an Armani suit with dreadlocks. I just thought like that's breaking the norm because that is something that people wouldn't usually see or wouldn't usually put together. So that amazed me. And I think ASOS tried a bit hard, but I think, I don't know, for me, it wasn't the greatest representation. Like the black women was a better representation of what I would think black women hairstyles look like. The black men, I was like, interesting, but not quite there. One thing I did want to touch on, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this H&M advert. So last year, H&M actually released this, it wasn't even a campaign, it was just like a couple of children who were taking pictures of for the clothing that they were modeled in for H&M. And basically there was a black girl whose hair was undone. So a celebrity hairstylist, his name is Vernon Francois, you can see in the top corner. He basically started this backlash at H&M saying, how dare you put this black girl on? Her hair's not done, her edges aren't done, like she doesn't look like she's been taken care of. That was kind of his view on this little girl. Like, and it was to the point, I think he said something about, like if you Google it, you can actually find what he said. I think he said something like, he doesn't know if like a parent was present, which is very insulting. Like, and I think at first I looked at this, I was like, oh, rah, this little girl, like nobody's brushed her edges down. And that was my initial reaction when I saw this advert last year. But then when I revisited it this year, I just thought, wait, what's wrong with that? Like, why is this a problem? And
also, can I add as well to that advert that everyone's hair was undone? Like it was basically supposed to be, the idea of the advert was kids playing and their hair, you know, when like obviously if you got kids around, no matter what, even if you do the swoopies, whatever, you do the edges, I call them swoopies by the way, edges, etc. You send your kids to school, back out, that's literally kids' hair, how it would look for a black person that has type 4 hair. But no one in the Caucasian community, I think it's politically correct, or other communities was outraged about the other kids' hair because also their hair was undone. It was only the black community that was upset about it. So that actually says quite quite a lot.
It
Quite.
does.
I think for me,
Sorry,
I don't know if sorry, I was just gonna say I think a lot of it was made about you know, that like the edges, she ain't got her edges done, blah 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 blah. But I think that there's a difference between having our hair like in its most natural state and then having it like well kempt. There's no way that like, and you know how we're very precise with how our hair is, and even how our mothers used to do our hair. Like there's no way your mom is letting you out with your hair like that. Now,
but you might come back like that.
Yeah, you might come back looking like that. Yeah. But had that been explained in a much better way without the, you know, the pictures just being released, and you know,
but the other kid's hair was messy as well. Because you have to the other kid's hair was messy as well. Like the Caucasian kids
the Caucasian
were messy as well, but no Caucasian person was upset because they understood that this is kids. Because remember, when they released it, they explained this is like messy hair.
Right.
They actually explained it wasn't like, oh, okay, everyone's hair is gonna be done apart from the black person. It wasn't like that.
Yeah,
it was literally like everyone's hair was like messy like kids, and the only people that had a problem with it was black people, which is, I think, is quite bad, because when the outrage happened, people actually understood it, but they were like, yeah, but messy, but you can still do the, like, they wanted it messy but still presentable, and that's not how it works. If you've got kids, like, that's not how it is, really and truly. It's, I was like, when I saw this, I was a bit disappointed, because I know how kids are. You will do their hair, and when they come back, it's a mess, you know, and then you have to detangle again. So
I think it shocked people because, like Grace said, it's kind of not how you would initially do the hair. Do you know what I mean? And I think it shocked us as black people because we just weren't ready to see. It's almost like we were exposed. Like, this is actually what happens. Like, and it was almost like seeing the exposure, and you're just like, whoa, well, that's true, but no, don't show everyone what it really looks like but in its best form. So I think that's why it was such an outrage. And H&M like came back, and I think they responded well. They said that they believe that all kids should be allowed to be kids, which is so true. And the school age kids who model for us come to the photo studio in the afternoon after school, and we aim for a natural look which reflects that. So like you said, they were not hiding the fact that, you know, this was supposed to be a natural thing. Like, we didn't try and like fix up the kids after school. Like, this is how they came. This is how we shot them. And I think it's a nice thing to do. Like, this is what they actually look like. So they played. So why should we be ashamed of our hair when we've been like chilling or playing, or our edges peeled up because it's now 9 hours after we did them? It kind of brings me to kind of the last question.
Oh, someone asked a question, by the way.
Sorry.
Why is this messy hair? I don't think it was really messy hair. I think it was just like, for example, let's say my hair is like this, and then I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't know, even now it doesn't really look messy, but like, it looks like I've played. And for white people, they had the same kind of concept as well. So it's not necessarily that the hair itself was messy. It was just like literally, you could tell that it's like, it looks like she's gone to play, really. But for me personally, it didn't really shock me, because I know how it is when you do kids' hair, and then it you know, sometimes it's like it doesn't look how you did it, basically. And I agree, though. I think us black people, we were a bit exposed, and we're very hard on ourselves when it comes to hair. So
yeah, for real. And my question from that was, if my edges aren't laid and my hair isn't fresh, because you have your braids in, there'll be a point where it's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks, like they're not as fresh as they were at the beginning. So then does that come across as unprofessional?
Well, people probably will I think we do. We're not quite comfortable with that idea, because even myself, like, I mostly keep braids in for a month, and then I take it off, just because my edges, like the regrowth at the front, is a bit like, it grows quickly. And even myself, I feel like I can't deal with I don't know, because it's almost like trying to unlearn that it's okay to have a normal day, not even off day. It's a normal day, because someone white can literally go to office and do a bun that's messy, that's even like the hair's falling on the side.
It's a look.
No one is going to have a problem with it.
Yeah, I agree. And do you even remember, like, I don't know if you all used to like relax your hair, but like, do you remember new growth used to be a bad thing?
Yeah.
Like all that new, and when you think about it, you're like, oh my goodness, like my hair is just doing what it's meant to do. And it used to be like, as soon as you see that little bit, like an inch, you're like, nah, I need to top it up, I need to do it, you know? And it's the same with this. I think, to be honest, when it comes to like our white counterparts, our white colleagues, they don't even realize it's looking messy. It's this is like an internal issue, really. And what you said about us being really hard on ourselves, like, oh no, I can't go somewhere unless I lay my edges. Why? Like, why is it that it has to be a must? You're clinging on to those 3 hairs, trying to slip them back, and it's just not happening. Lauren's laughing.
I'm good. I was had to laugh on mute. It was too funny. You're not wrong.
But sorry,
on that, Grace, I think, is it not? Well, I don't know if it is. I know you said, and Abby said this, well, we're really hard on ourselves. We're really hard on Black people. But do you not think we're hard on other Black people because we know how society will view us?
Yeah,
that's exactly that.
Listen, you need to, like, we expect more from you because this is the game that we have to play. And you're not really playing that game right now, and it will make the rest of us seem, because
bad,
isn't it? One Black person does something, then it's all of us. But so it's almost like we
tricky.
don't want to let the side down.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Like, me, even when I was younger, my mom would not allow me to look, like, she would make sure I look like on point. Because for her, it's like, if you look bad, then they think we're like, bro, like, as in, she's literally thinking of my experience as well, because she wants me to have the best experience at school. Unfortunately, I can't blame her for that. And I'm sure if I was a mother, I'm not gonna realistically, I'm gonna do my kids' hair because I want them to look good. I don't want them to be bullied. I don't know if that makes sense. But at the same time, I want them to wear their hair out. Do you get it? So it's a tricky one, because I think it's part of us being hard on ourselves, because we know that, like, one thing that looks uncommon or looks quote unquote bad, or if we're having one person is having a bad hair day in quotes, is going to reflect on all of us. Same, like I mentioned with the girl in Love Island for her wig. Because everyone is like, why is her wig look like this? She's from London. There's so many Insta wig hairstylists. I could fix her. White people are going to think like, why is our scalp red? Like, they were just going in at her, to be honest.
Yeah.
And again, we were thinking of what the other people were going to say about all of us.
Yeah.
I
think that's psychologically, that's so damaging. Like, the fact that we have to think about what other people are going to think about what other people are doing that's apparently going to harm us. Like, that's my head can't really get around how tangled we almost are in, like, something that we haven't even created. Like, and I think someone said it before, it's going to take generations to undo and unlearn and, I guess, fix. But I think it's just about appreciating where people are coming from as well. Like, for example, I'm looking now, like, me and Abby have similar hairstyles, like some sort of twist out, braid out, like hair out, but Abby has her edges laid or slicked at the front, and I don't. But I don't think that makes either of our hairs any less professional. Like,
right.
I'm like, we're both equally as acceptable in this moment. Like, 100%. This is how you came, this is how I came. I love the way you've done your hair. I might try it next time. You might try this way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
And I can appreciate it. and I'm sure you can appreciate my hair too. Kia, I know you cut your hair recently because for health reasons, I believe.
Yeah.
And now you're rocking this new look, which I totally appreciate too. I loved your afro, I loved your big hair, but I'm like, you look amazing with this look. And I know that Lady T slayed Grace. So
yeah.
Grace is rocking her new braids, and I can appreciate that too. So it's like, I don't think that you have to have fresh hair or laid edges to be professional. That's my opinion. And
yeah, absolutely.
I think
The more we do it in the workplace and in all these other like areas, the more common it becomes. And I think the reason why we're maybe even competitive is because it is very common to be one or two of the only Black people in the office. So you know already, I need to be, you know, that thing of working twice as hard. I already need to be that. So if I'm that and they see that, okay, like she's always on point, then listen, they're gonna bring more people to the team. Okay. They're gonna think like, okay, like this is and it's sad that they have to think like that, and you almost have to be like the standard, but it goes back to that thing of not being naive of what society is like and what your recruiters are like, because okay, HR says they're not going to discriminate, but guess what? They discriminate. As soon as they see your name, they discriminate. As soon as they see your hair, they discriminate.
100%.
So it's about being realistic, but at the same time, still keeping it real and being authentic and true to what you're all about at the end of the day. So
definitely. I think the last question is, what can we do about it? So how do we break the stigma that our hair is unprofessional? Because we've talked a lot about, we recognize that people see it as unprofessional, but now what can we as individuals, as a community do to show them, you know what, you're actually wrong? And even to show ourselves, like to redefine it in our own minds, because like we've said, some of us are just used to something else.
Yeah,
You know,
I think it's... Sorry?
I love this question.
Yeah, I think I feel like we discussed it a bit when we debriefed together, but it's definitely going to come from, it's going to have to start with us. I mean, obviously, society has to change by force, but we also have to make them change, if that makes sense. So, like, you know, I mentioned earlier, I used to work in the city. Well, I don't work in the city anymore, but I used to work in the city, and the most Black women will have straight wigs, not even Afro wigs, but straight wigs. If you go to the suppliers that sell hair, like vendors, the reason why they don't have like that much Afro hair, they might have curly hair, but they don't have that much like Afro textured hair. So from the fours going up, is because the demand is not that high. So like it will have to start with us in terms of the workplaces. We genuinely also have to genuinely believe we find that attractive, that that this is a nice style, that it doesn't look kiddish, if that makes sense. Because like you mentioned earlier, oh yeah, this is cute, but they don't say this is cute as in like, oh, this is actually nice. It's more like, this is cute, like it's a cute kiddish hairstyle, like it's cute kind of thing. So I think that's where it's going to start from first, and not envying also other people's hair texture. So I see a lot on YouTube with the texturism. So for example, I see a lot of comments where women maybe type 4 hair will be like, oh, I wish my hair was like this. I can't foresee my hair doing this. I don't know if you've heard the term, I can't foresee my hair doing this, because they wish they had a looser hair texture. And when you even go on some of the hair pages, what you will see is a lot of looser hair textures. And some of the people who run in some of the hair pages are actually Black women. Don't get it twisted. They are actually Black women. So we need to also genuinely, truly, deeply appreciate our own hair. Like this, the same way we get gassed when you get your new wig done is the same way you should get gassed when you get your hair done, but with your own hair, if that makes sense. So I think it's a bit of both, and then we can work on society, but it's going to have to start with ourselves first.
Definitely, but I would also like to say now is the best time.
Yeah.
It's the perfect time because
Yeah.
before we knew that Caucasian people or white people, whatever, we knew when they were being racist towards us. But now they know that we know that they're being racist. So it's like we're able to have these conversations. I think we're picking up more than ever before. So I went somewhere with someone, and I went somewhere with my husband, and I said, Anton, are they? And he just said, yeah. And so, but they carried on because they didn't know what we meant. But now it's like, actually, I don't need to say, are they? I can just, they would understand that we. Oh, it's so weird that it's such a tragedy happened for us to be able to open our mouths to something that has been happening to us for so long. Whereas people are like, oh, you're just playing the race card. And it's so sad. So I feel that now we're able to talk about this more in terms of having like Black people as CEOs. And you're right, Abby, it does need to start with us for sure.
100%.
If it does, and also I think it's education for sure. But I think it's more education for ourselves.
Yes.
There are some people that aren't willing to learn. Some Black people that aren't willing to learn, and I mean, Grace, we all know natural products to look after our hair. You can't go to the Asian shop, you can't, the Black hair shop, you can't and spend £1 and get, you just can't. But I find a lot of people aren't willing to spend that money to look after our hair so that our hair is healthy. And so I feel that education for sure needs to override anything else. And it's sad because if people, I find it sad when I see young girls in particular, and I'm like, okay, it's clear that you haven't been educated like that. Your mom hasn't wanted to, and it makes me really sad because they're gonna grow up in the system. They're gonna grow up in the system. Whereas if we are like, do you know what? I'm professional. I'm rocking my hair. I am professional. I'm a business owner. This is how I stay. And then the generation after me, we always have that. Listen, I am professional. That we can't. Nothing will come from that. We really need to educate ourselves. And our communities.
100%. I think everyone in the comments is kind of agreeing with education. Like, we need to educate ourselves, educate each other. We need to start with brave individuals. So like even what Thoko was doing, who are just willing to fight the stereotypes, refuse to conform to the norms. And I don't know if you can still hear me, but my computer froze on the chat. So there was, we're back. Basically having more natural hair videos, speaking out when we see natural hair discrimination within the workplace, having workshops, learning how to take care of our hair properly. Like, I'm feeling like even this group of people, there's different areas we can all help within that. So like, Abby, you're out here saying how to take care of your hair. Grace and Kia, you're saying, look, these are products that will help you learn to take care of your hair, protect your hair. And also someone said supporting more natural hair, small natural hair Black owned businesses. Yes to that. We agree.
Please.
We are out here. And yeah, I think even as someone with natural hair, it's always easier to find the products that big brands do. And for some reason, we always spend a bit extra money when it's a big brand because we're like, oh, we know it works because everyone else uses it. I found that with all these products that I've been using from big brands, do they work? Not always. Like,
I
and
don't know.
like, truthfully, I can spend a whole lot of money on stuff that doesn't even work. So I even feel like we just need to do reviews. Like, this is my hair type. This works for me. You know, try something. Just give it a go. But
you're right. Reviews, Laura, you're right.
and
No, I agree. And I think even with the reviews, because to be honest, there's actually a lot of content on YouTube, UK Black YouTubers talking about their hair. I honestly don't have an issue finding content, but it's also supporting. So like, are you going to be more impressed with if you see someone that's type 3 hair doing a twist out than someone that's type 4 hair doing a twist out, even though you got type 4 hair? Does that make sense? Because you will see videos of someone type 3 doing a twist out and it will have 1 million views. And again, when you go into the comments, because I always read the comments to see what people think, I see a lot of people with type 4 hair saying, like, basically they wish they had this hair, they're going to try and do it. And again, it's to attain a hair texture that they don't have naturally. Like, it will be very hard for their hair to look like that, if that makes sense. So I think it's also like a mix of that, because with texturism, honestly, I see it so much. And I cannot understand where it comes from, because remember, you got colorism, then there's texturism, there's featureism. They're all intertwined. That's why we have these issues, That's why
sorry to interrupt you, could you just let people know which is the tighter curl? So some people are just asking, like, what are the different hair types?
Yeah, sorry.
And also, are there various hair types that certain brands don't work with? I don't know if you know anything about that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was gonna jump onto that point. I'm not gonna mention any brands, but I have seen, since I've been doing Afro Hair tips, to be honest, I have seen some brands use more looser hair textured girls for their hair care brands. And sometimes when I find who the founder is actually someone that has type 4 hair. So type 4 hair is basically a tighter coil or tighter curl pattern. So it's usually shrunken. So for example, my hair would be, I don't know if you guys can see, that's like type 4 hair. There's a mixture of hair curl pattern. Some of them are 4B, some of them are 4C. So let me start from the beginning. You got 4 hair types. You got type 1, which is usually straight, type 2, which is a bit wavy, type 3, which is curlier, and then you have type 4, which is like
coils.
Yeah, exactly. This was made by a man, I believe, that did the system. And there's actually another system which I forgot what it's called. I think it's LS system, or I can't remember, but it tells you whether you got S curls or your curls are like O's, basically, because even though you can have tighter coils or curls, you will notice that even someone that's type 4C and another person that's type 4C, their curls will still look very different, if that makes sense.
That's true.
So that's why even with the hair typing system, some people don't really agree with it fully, because when they look at that chart, they can't really recognize their hair
where they are
on that chart. Exactly. But yes, there's a lot of people, even if they don't realize with the hair typing exists, subconsciously they want a looser curl pattern. So when they go on YouTube, very often they might prefer to watch someone with looser curl, because for them that's what looks more attractive or presentable. And that's what we kind of have to fight against our own biases. Just the same with colorism, we need to do the same with texturism, so we don't fit into that system. And you also have brands, like I mentioned earlier, when you go to their page, you're only going to see looser hair curls, if that makes sense. And that can be a bit discouraging for someone that maybe that's more like mine or Laura's hair type, for example. You're trying to rock your hair and just see representation, and then you see everyone that's got looser curls. So you're thinking, like, what's going on here,
I think it's even like you were saying on YouTube, when you try a style and you're like, oh, you expect it to look like that, and then it comes out and you're like, that is not what you showed me. And like mine's all frizzy, and it goes even deeper, like there's porosity.
Yeah.
So I feel like
density.
we should definitely, if people want to know more about this stuff, we should get together again and do something around hair types and taking care of your hair. If you guys are up for that, and if you guys in the chat would like that, then please let us know, because I think we're all still in lockdown, so why not?
This is how we
some definitely yes pleases, which is looking good. I did say cut off at 1:30, and it's 1:30+1. So I'm just gonna finish up and say, coming up, like this was just one event. GCC Grimshaw Community Centre, we're doing a couple of events over Black History Month, just because we found an opportunity and thought, you know what, why not do something? I love Black History Month, but I really feel like because it's lockdown, we're being a bit silent as Black individuals. So I'm like, we've just stepped out and decided to do some events. And so next Sunday, same time, same details, we've got a conversation around getting home safely. So what's the right response to being stopped and searched? I know it's a difficult one. We've got a chief inspector, his name's Ian Jones, a sergeant, her name is Lana Palmer-Davies, and also a community worker, Ahmed James. They're all going to be on a panel just discussing this topic. I think it's really important just to know, like, as Black individuals, especially Black men, what do you say? Because we can get defensive and be like, well, I'm just walking home, or I've not done anything wrong, and then they get detained. And it's like, or they get stopped and like, they're like, okay, let's do a breathalyzer, etc., etc. So we are trying to, again, educate and have that discussion with police to see like what their thoughts are on that. So if you would like to come to that event, you can screenshot, or if you see at the bottom, facebook.com/GCC Preston, and go to events. All of our events are going to be there. The week after, the Sunday after, we've got a live cooking demonstration on cooking Caribbean food. So we've got Prina and Richard Wilkinson. They're a married couple, and Prina's from Jamaica. She wants to show us how to do some jerk chicken and rice and peas. And Chantal is from Shaz Delights. You can find her on Instagram. She is a plant-based just individual who loves healthy cooking, wants to educate people on how to make healthy but tasty. She does focus on tasty meals, because healthy can also taste nasty if we do it wrong. Just saying. So she's going to be showing us a chickpea and lentil curry, and she did actually make me some vegan cinnamon buns. So
yes,
I'm definitely ready to try those. Thank you. And yeah, she's also trying to set up a business where she helps people to eat better with their health, like eat for wellness, basically. So if you would like any sort of information on that, please do go on Instagram and find Shaz Delights, but she'll tell you more about it on the 25th.